Welcome back to the Fear Files. Today, we're diving into the unnerving world of travel and accommodations with 3 chilling true stories from Airbnb guests. These tales will keep you on the edge of your seat, whether you're just looking for a cozy stay or searching for your next adventure. So, grab a snack, settle in, and let's get ready to explore these spine-tingling experiences. Our first story takes us to a young couple who decided to book a weekend getaway in a quaint, rustic Airbnb located in the woods. They had been looking forward to this trip for weeks, eager to escape the hustle and bustle of city life and immerse themselves in nature. The photos online depicted a charming house surrounded by lush trees, promising a serene and peaceful retreat. However, as they arrived, they quickly realized things weren't as they seemed. The house, which had appeared so inviting in the pictures, now looked old and somewhat neglected. The paint was peeling, and the windows were clouded with dust. The once charming exterior now seemed to exude an air of abandonment. Upon arriving, the couple was greeted not by a host, but by an empty, dimly lit house. The key was left under the doormat as instructed, but there was no sign of anyone else around. The silence was almost deafening, broken only by the occasional rustle of leaves outside. It felt eerily too quiet, and the atmosphere was unsettling. The house seemed to groan and creak with every step they took, as if it were alive and watching them. The couple exchanged uneasy glances, but tried to brush off their discomfort, attributing it to their overactive imaginations. They unpacked their bags and tried to settle in, convincing themselves that it was just their nerves playing tricks on them. They decided to make the best of their weekend, hoping that the eerie feeling would pass. As they started to settle in, strange occurrences began. It started with small things. A door that they were sure they had closed was now open. An object seemed to move on their own. They tried to rationalize these events, thinking perhaps they were just being forgetful or clumsy. But then they heard footsteps upstairs, even though they were alone. The sound was unmistakable, the slow, deliberate creaking of floorboards under the weight of someone walking. They froze, listening intently, but the footsteps stopped as suddenly as they had started. Later that evening, while they were preparing dinner, they noticed the front door slowly creaking open. The sight of the door moving on its own sent a chill down their spines. They exchanged nervous glances, trying to stay calm. They presumed it was just the wind and shut it firmly, but the unease lingered and they couldn't shake the feeling that they were not alone. But soon after, they found a series of unsettling messages written on the kitchen window. "You shouldn't be here." The words were scrawled in what looked like condensation, but the message was clear and chilling. Panic set in as they tried to convince themselves it was just a prank. They checked the house thoroughly, looking for any signs of an intruder, but found nothing. The messages seemed to appear out of nowhere, adding to their growing sense of dread. The final straw came when they heard whispers coming from the living room. The voices were faint but unmistakable, speaking in hushed tones that sent shivers down their spines. They couldn't make out the words, but the tone was menacing. Heart racing, they cautiously crept down the hallway, only to find a shadowy figure standing in the corner. The figure was barely visible in the dim light, but its presence was undeniable. They stood frozen in fear, unable to move or speak. They bolted out of the house and didn't stop running until they reached their car. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they fumbled with the keys, desperate to get away from the house as quickly as possible. They never looked back and reported the host, but to this day they wonder about the secrets that house holds. The experience left them shaken, and they couldn't help but feel that the house was more than just a building. It was a living entity with a dark past. The couple vowed never to return, but the memory of that weekend continues to haunt them, a chilling reminder of the unknown lurking in the shadows. Our second story revolves around a solo traveler who thought she was booking a peaceful escape in an upscale city apartment. She had been planning this trip for months, meticulously choosing the perfect place to stay, hoping for a serene and luxurious experience. The apartment listing boasted stunning views, modern amenities, and a prime location in the heart of the city. She was excited to explore and experience everything the city had to offer, from its vibrant nightlife to its rich cultural heritage. The traveler envisioned herself strolling through bustling markets, dining at exquisite restaurants, and immersing herself in the local culture. But what she discovered instead turned her trip into a nightmare, shattering her sense of security and trust. Upon her arrival, the apartment seemed perfect and everything was as described. The living room was welcoming, the kitchen was spotless, and the bedroom promised a restful night's sleep. She felt a sense of relief, thinking she had made the right choice. However, things took a turn when she started to notice strange devices placed in odd spots around the apartment. At first, she dismissed them as part of the apartment's high-tech appeal, perhaps security features or smart home devices. At first, she thought they might be some high-tech gadgets, maybe even part of the apartment's charm. She tried to brush off her unease, convincing herself that she was just being paranoid, but when she did a little digging, her heart sank. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was off, so she decided to investigate further. She searched online for similar devices and their uses, and what she found was alarming. She discovered one of the devices was actually a hidden camera, strategically placed to capture her every move. The realization hit her like a ton of bricks. She felt violated, knowing that her privacy had been invaded in such a personal space. Horrified, she immediately packed her things and left the apartment. Her mind raced with thoughts of who might be watching and what they had already seen. She couldn't get out of there fast enough, her heart pounding with fear and anger. It wasn't just about being recorded. It was a complete invasion of privacy. The thought of someone watching her every move in what was supposed to be her safe haven was deeply unsettling. She felt exposed and vulnerable, her trust shattered. She contacted Airbnb and reported the incident, only to find that the host had a history of using hidden cameras in previous listings. This revelation added to her distress, knowing that this wasn't an isolated incident but a pattern of behavior. This left her shaken and feeling unsafe even in her own skin. The experience haunted her, making it difficult to trust any future accommodations. She couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, even in the privacy of her own home. She put up a warning online to other travelers, making sure they knew to be vigilant when renting accommodations. Her story quickly gained traction, with many expressing their own fears and experiences. She hoped that by sharing her ordeal, she could prevent others from going through the same nightmare. From that day on, she became much more cautious when booking accommodations. She meticulously read reviews, scrutinized photos, and even brought her own devices to check for hidden cameras. Her trust in the system was forever altered, but she was determined to protect herself and others from such invasions of privacy. The incident also sparked a larger conversation about privacy and safety in the sharing economy. Travelers began sharing tips on how to detect hidden cameras and protect their privacy. The community rallied together, advocating for stricter regulations and better enforcement to ensure such violations would not go unchecked. Despite the trauma, the traveler found strength in the support of the community. She continued to explore new places, but with a newfound sense of vigilance and empowerment. Her story serves as a reminder to always be aware and to stand up for one's right to privacy. Our final story takes us deep into the wilderness, where a group of friends decided to rent a cabin for a relaxed weekend. They had been planning this trip for months, eager to escape the hustle and bustle of city life and reconnect with nature. They were excited for a fun getaway filled with laughter and adventure, envisioning days spent hiking through the woods and nights around the campfire, sharing stories and roasting marshmallows. But they soon found themselves at the center of something truly terrifying. The first night, as they settled into the cozy cabin, an unsettling feeling began to creep over them. The cabin was picturesque, with a stunning view of the mountains. The sun set behind the peaks, casting a golden glow over the landscape. However, as night fell, they began to experience strange occurrences. The wind howled through the trees and the cabin creaked as if it were alive. Odd noises echoed through the woods, sounding like whispers carried on the wind. The friends tried to brush it off as their imaginations running wild, but they could have sworn they saw shadowy figures moving just beyond the tree line. The shadows seemed to dance and flicker, always just out of clear sight. Things escalated when one of the friends came across an old diary in the cabin's attic. It belonged to a previous guest who spoke of being haunted by the spirit of a woman who had once lived there. According to the diary, the woman had died under mysterious circumstances and was said to haunt the cabin, searching for something she had lost. She had never left and was looking for something she lost. The friends were both intrigued and frightened by the diary's contents, wondering if the eerie occurrences were connected to the restless spirit. Exploring the woods the next day, they stumbled upon an old grave hidden among the trees. The grave was overgrown with moss and vines, almost as if nature itself was trying to conceal it. The date on the headstone was eerily close to the diary entries. It seemed to confirm the story of the haunted woman, sending chills down their spines. Terrified, they retreated to the cabin, their minds racing with thoughts of the ghostly presence that might be watching them. That night, while they were sitting by the fire trying to shake off the day's discoveries, they heard a voice calling their names from the woods. The voice was faint but unmistakable, sending a wave of fear through the group. Fearing an entity wanted to lure them away, they barricaded themselves inside until dawn. They pushed furniture against the doors and windows, hoping to keep whatever was out there at bay. They huddled together, listening to the sounds of the night, every creak and rustle making their hearts race. The hours dragged on, each minute feeling like an eternity. The following morning, they hurriedly checked out, leaving their fears behind. They packed their belongings in record time, eager to put as much distance between themselves and the haunted cabin as possible. While they had thought it was just a thrilling adventure, the experience stuck with them. The drive back was filled with nervous laughter and attempts to rationalize what they'd experienced. They often wondered if the spirit had finally found peace, or if she continued to wander the woods, searching for what she had lost. The memory of the haunted cabin lingered in their minds, a chilling reminder of their brush with the supernatural. And though they never returned to that cabin, the story of their eerie weekend became a legend among their friends, a tale of caution about the mysteries that lie hidden in the wilderness. Thank you for joining me on this chilling journey through 3 true Airbnb experiences that serve as a reminder of the unexpected twists travel can bring. When booking your next getaway, always remember to trust your instincts and do your research. You never know who or what might be waiting for you. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more spine-chilling content. Until next time, stay safe and happy travels.